It's Kringle time. Sit back, relax. It's time to dive into a world of laughter and learning with the Kringle brothers, reminding us that we are better together.
Hey, welcome to Kringle time. It's your Kringle brothers, Mike and Mike.
Hello, how are you, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am doing wonderful. It's
So, how was
Wednesday,
your
my
week?
favorite night.
Yes, you know what? I love that opening music when I found that. That was a YouTube, one of those YouTube, royalty free,
Oh, I got you. It's
thing-
got a
thing.
good beat. It makes me want to dance.
I
It
do.
gives
I
me a
just love
happy
that.
feet.
I want to dance.
It's always a great time. So, how was your week, my friend?
You know what? It was a good week. Linda's doing really well, and it was what are they? Back to school, all of the back to school stuff, and you know what's kind of fun where I live. I'm only 2 houses down from the school, and I live right between the elementary school and the high school, middle school. Right, so when back to school starts to come, the sidewalk in front of my house is like tons of kids, and you can hear these little elementary kids walking by to something. Santa lives there. Santa, so it was a fun week. It was, back to school.
I was gonna ask you, get your coffee in the morning and sit on the front porch and just wave.
That would be that would be fun. But no, I don't do it that bad. But so how about you? How about your week?
So it was a good week, busy week. Like I said, I'm happy it's Wednesday. It's one of my favorite nights. I have a busy weekend coming up, but it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of exciting new things. So, and being a Santa, you're always got to be prepared for change because you never know what comes down the line, right?
Oh, constantly. I mean, yeah, that's kind of in a sense a little bit of what we're talking about tonight too with improv,
Exactly.
but say hi to Charlie's on, it was good. I got a chance to see him yesterday. He borrowed my projector unit and brought it back. So it was fun seeing Charlie, and Sandy's here and Doug is here.
Oh yeah, we have a whole bunch of people here.
And famous Santa Mel is here.
That's famous Santa Mel and Bill
And
Coates.
Bill, and Steph.
And Steph is here, and then we also have Santa
Ohio.
Denby.
You know what? I'm really excited. Steph's going to be at the Charles W. Howard and taking pictures.
Oh yeah, at the Santa Expo.
Yeah, and so I reserved a spot, for both of us to get our Kringle brother picture together and stuff with her. So I just love her work. I mean, there's a lot of people. I love a lot of people's work. So I'm not just limiting it to Stephanie, but you know what? She's right here, and I definitely want to take advantage and opportunity to get photos from her. So if you're coming to Charles W. Howard, reach out to Steph. And get some pictures. Yeah.
Just remember, in regards to that expo, you don't have to attend Charles W. Howard School to actually attend the expo. They're two different things. That expo is going to be at the Holiday Inn right here in Midland. So.
Yep, that's right. And Joe Eady's online.
Oh, and Zingerman's online, and Parker Odell's online. Oh yeah, we have a good.
This is awesome.
Anderson. So you actually talked about it, Michael. Today we're going to talk about something that can completely transform your experiences as a Christmas performer. Can you guess what that is?
Yeah. Improv.
I don't know if you're ordering from a barbecue place or trying to tell me about improv. Yeah, I'll have the butt and.
Yeah, improv. So do me a favor, Michael. What's improv to you? Let people know when you say improv, what do you mean?
Well, most people, when they actually think of improv, automatically go into Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh my gosh, I love that show.
That is a great show. But the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is improv is not set up to always be funny.
Oh. In fact, I'd encourage you don't try to be funny.
Exactly. One of the things, and we'll go over some guidelines. I don't like to call them rules because rules make everybody think that they have to stick to them, where guidelines are basically, the parameters that are set out there.
Yeah, what is it like in Pirates of the Caribbean? Is parlay?
Yeah, something like a parlay type atmosphere to go on there too. But the thing is that you want to remember is always be truthful. But the reason that this is so important, especially to us as Christmas performers, whether you're a Santa, a Mrs. Claus, or an elf, it's because you can maintain the magic of the visit, not only in a large setting such as a mall or Great Wolf Lodge or corporate events or tree lighting, but even in a home visit, being
Yeah.
able to fully appreciate and take in and add to the experience is all where improv comes from.
All right. Well, let me come back. I'm going to ask that question again
Okay.
because maybe I'm a little dense and it went over my head. But so, what exactly is improv?
Improv is basically spontaneity or unpredictability and being able to change focus and bring in that information and expand upon it and then return it to basically your scene partner.
Okay. All right.
So it's
So which is our kids and the families who you
right.
visit, or even Mrs. Claus or an elf that you're working with too. I would think.
Right. So again, when you start looking at this improv basically, like I said, is unpredictability and the role of a Christmas performance, not just showing up in costume or memorizing lines, but is rather about being fully present in every moment and being prepared for anything that comes your way.
Awesome. So
Now,
there's some guidelines to
yes,
help you as you work on this,
right. There are some guidelines. And so let's go over some of the guidelines here.
right?
But you know what? Before we go into the guidelines,
Right.
because it is a hilarious joke, why don't we go ahead and run the dad joke right now?
Oh, oh, yeah,
Because
that's a good one.
I think
No,
it is
well, set
hilarious.
this up. Remember we talked about beard care,
Right.
right? And so when we were doing that, Nate and Roger were down in Georgia, so they created this dad joke that we'll just set that up a little bit. But all right, enjoy.
Why did Santa visit Missy at Salon 84 West in Georgia?
To slay more than the runway.
See, that's funny.
Thanks, Nate, Roger, and Missy.
Even though they look like they were actually trying to like either get really good cable reception or contact alien life form.
I was thinking it was protecting you from aliens.
Protect you from aliens. Well, that's true. So, Michael, you asked me about guidelines. Well, the first guideline, and this is actually a really important one, and that is be present and attentive. What does that mean to you, Michael?
Well, I think what it means to me is one with ADHD. I remind myself, keep my focus on the child or whoever I'm talking about, that they're mostly important. So that way I'm focused, I'm present, I'm in my character, and I'm present looking at that child. I'm keeping my focus there with them, and then of course that way I can respond off of them or whatever they need, and whatever direction they lead me. I call it open-handed. I can keep open-handed, so that way wherever they go, I can go with them.
Oh, you're reading my mind. All right, so the one I wrote, it was the most important part of improv is being fully present in the moment. As a Christmas performer, this means paying close attention to the people you are interacting with. Listen carefully to what they say, notice their body language, and respond to that which is in front of you and not what you expect. And then again, for example, if a child seems nervous or shy, instead of going into a long speech about Christmas and being good and everything that goes along with that, maybe lean in, soften your voice, and invite them to share something small, like maybe their favorite Christmas movie. By staying attentive to this person, you can adjust the performance to meet their needs. Now, this is kind of an important aspect. We talk about often where when we have a line of people for pictures or we're meeting with a group of people, that we want to concentrate and try to make each individual person the most important aspect, or you are just so, and this is what being present and attentive means. It's not thinking to yourself going, my gosh, I only have 3 more hours to go before I get to go home, or what am I having for dinner? You want to make sure that you're focusing on what's being there and what is being offered, because I know for me, I love watching little children come up and they have dinosaurs on their shirt, which makes me want to show them my dinosaur dance.
I love it when you do that.
But again, the child then starts warming up, or I take like maybe the father, who's supposed to be the role model, and get them to sit on my lap or stand next to me or something like that. Because then all of a sudden the child then ends up feeling a little bit more comfortable. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to maintain that Christmas magic. How about you? Do you do anything like that?
Well, yeah. In other words, it's easy for me for my head to go wing, squirrel, squirrel. And so I literally, if I have a mantra, when I get there and I get in that present, and I sense my head wanting to go squirrel or to pay attention to something that's moving out there, I literally say mantra in my head, going, "This is the most important conversation you're going to have today. Don't blow it."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I don't say that out loud. Like I said that's in my head. So that way it'll help me put my antlers up, my blinders, for the horse, and focus where I need to be, I am. Yeah. And so that's just my own little mantra with that, because, I don't want the child to feel, and even an adult or a teenager to feel like, I'm blowing them off, or I'm not, because people don't realize, hey, the brother's got some ADHD squirrels going on, but so they don't know that. So I need to make sure I'm Santa and they're the most important thing.
So, but a good thing too is with this guideline too is if you look at that show, Who's Line It Anyway, when they do such of games like pulling a thing out of a hat, they don't know what they're going to get. So what they have to do is listen intently and be in the moment and not already have prearranged things in their hat or in their pocket that they can always fall to.
Yeah.
And so again, you never know what's going to happen. The
No,
next
and then and I think it by being attentive to, understanding your space that's around you, and then the better you work on your backstory. In other words, I like to call it your bag of tricks. Things that you're familiar with that you find. The other thing I'll do is best practice. So in other words, for me, here's a best practice. When here's the line, it's all of this. I'll just jump up and get everyone to sing in the line. I get the whole line to refocus and then sit back down and go back to my visits. So, you can only do that when you're present in between those things and watching what's going on, what's happening in your environment.
And you're making very good points. The next guideline I want to talk about is what they refer to as the cornerstone of improv, and that is accept and build,
Yes.
or better known as yes.
And
There you go. There it is right there. So the guideline number 2 is yes and or accept and build. And what this simply means is you're accepting whatever your scene partner says, whether it's from another performer or a member of the audience, and they throw it at you and then you build upon it. And then let me give you a for instance here. Say a child comes up to you and they tell you they've been helping their mom bake cookies all week. So you take that, you receive that, and you're like, "Oh, I bet Mrs. Claus would love to trade cookie recipes with your mother," because now you said you accepted what they said. You are giving it back with a little bit more detail, such as like, "What kind of cookies did you make?" You are acknowledging their reality and adding to the magic. It's about co-creating the moment with your audience.
yeah.
Now, I know for me, one of the best stories I had to tell is doing a virtual visit. A little boy came up to me with a question over the thing. Goes, Santa, how do you get the internet at the North Pole?
Oh yeah.
Well, that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. And I said, well, and then immediately I went into about the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. And then it was like, well, my elves, they're very smart. Well, they actually figured a way to get the internet up here at the North Pole by tapping into the Northern Lights magnetic elements. And you know what? We get the internet. It's the strongest internet ever, and it's free.
Yeah.
Because again, so what we're doing here is accepting no matter what the audience, even if a child yells out or even a parent. So like to how many times do people basically you talk about reindeer and usually it's a father jumps up, no, that's a caribou. And then so you don't want to tell them no, you're wrong because that's not fun. But he said, well, they changed because the North America, they're known as caribou, but in the European world, they're known as reindeer. So you kind of just play along with that. Do you have any stories about what you did for a yes and or accept and build?
Well, I off the top of my head, I'm not remembering an exact story, but I do remember going, I mean, just like you did the Aurora Borealis, all of a sudden the child will ask something and then I'll say something out of my mouth and my mind goes, oh, don't forget that. That's a really good comment. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those, I find some of my best practices come from the improv, things that I say in the moment where they're developed, and then it's something that it wasn't premeditated or thought of, but it became the standard of what I say.
Right. And again, it helps build your world because your world building based upon the inputs that other people are coming in. And I would recommend after a show, after a sitting, or any time at the end of the day, journal.
Oh, yes.
Write down things like that
Yes.
because this is how we build our characters, which takes us into guideline number 3.
Well, now let me say before you go to 3, the kind of the journaling, I mean, and I'll encourage you like this. We can go this. I'm not the best speller in the world, being ADHD, dyslexic kind of thing. I got my list of stuff that the teachers gave me when I was in school with them, right? And so writing is not my best thing, but at least so you can write it down for you to pull it back. I mean, should I make the comment? Did everyone catch my misspelling for the show tonight? That's just proof. Yeah, that's proof of what I'm saying. Right.
But no, we just thought it was just a test to make sure that everybody was staying in the moment. And you know what? We only had one person call us out on it. So way to go, Stacy, for being present and attentive. And then for those that don't know what we're talking about, if you look at the title of this episode, your mission, if you choose to accept it, we actually used a little play on accept there.
Yeah, that was back to the right. I'm surprised Mel didn't catch that. You know what I mean? Mel's really good with that stuff. She's so smart. And Sal too.
Well,
yeah.
Now that we mentioned it, Santa Kevin is now saying it and stuff like that too. So
okay, good job, Kevin. And Scott's on too. Glad you're here, Scott. And Carl's here.
Oh yeah, we got
and Patty's here too. Yep. Yay. And and Michael.
And
nice.
And Sal, and we do have a good crew today. Well, our guideline number 3 is what we all should be trying to strive for, and that is stay in character no matter what.
Yes.
Now, if you are giving a role, and this actually this pertains to Santa, to make sure Santa, their role is usually being warm and jolly, knowledgeable. But if you are actually trying to work with an elf or you are trying to work with a Mrs. Claus, you want to try to strive to keep them in character. Now, what this means is improv does not mean stepping out of character, quite the opposite. It is about maintaining your character while navigating the unexpected. Whether it is Santa, Mrs. Claus, or any other Christmas performer, your job is to embody that character fully. And this means reacting to the unexpected while staying true to the persona. If something goes wrong, like a child asks an offbeat question or an adult tries to actually crack a joke with you, respond in a way that is authentic to your character. So what I'm trying to say here, though, is and I mean, it's been posted in the chat as well. If you know your backstory, if you actually go through things that we discussed earlier with like character development.
Yeah, I was going to make that comment. Yeah.
You will be able then to understand your character and understand how your character would react in these circumstances. If you think about it, everybody says, well, I don't have a quick mind. I can't come up with all the banter to go back and forth because I just can't think like that. Well, you do improv every single day.
We do?
You do, because every single day it really is unpredictable. It is spontaneous. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, for instance, you're in full dress going to an event and all of a sudden you're driving and somebody cuts you off.
Yeah, or walking in here. Yeah. All right, never mind. I'm thinking of a memory, and it's just for me.
Well, as long as you're
It
enjoying.
was improv. Boy, was that improv. Okay.
But again, these are the things that we have to look at, and you have to respond and answer back in character. And again, I can't stress enough, know your character, have your world set up in your mind. You don't have to have it written down, but you should actually be well aware so that no matter what interesting or bizarre or unique questions is asked, for instance, Santa, I want a dragon for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that happened to you. You did it. Yeah.
Well, like, the young person wrote fan fiction and wanted a dragon for Christmas. Well, I said, well, what type of dragon? And then I started listing about 15 different kinds of dragons. And she was just amazed that I could come up with that many dragons. Other things, too, is to stay in character is don't be afraid to read.
Yeah.
Seek out knowledge, because you can pull things from so many different areas that you can use for your improv.
Well, and if you're a mechanic, you can use those mechanic skills and tools and things that you know as part of what you do for answers. You know, a draftsman or whatever. I mean, one of my favorite improv is when I had a child make a comment to me, and they were a gamer, right? And of course, I found out that they played Assassin's Creed, which then brought up all my conversation of DNA memory theory and time relativity with Einstein. And they're just looking at me, and I'm describing all of this, right? And they're like, Santa, you're pretty smart. You know, I mean,
Well,
I'm talking some science to them. I mean, but these were teenagers that were trying to stump me, but by, you know, taking what I knew in the gaming world and improv it to them, you know, they didn't come across at all. So,
but
yeah.
let's be truthful there, Michael. You are a big Assassin's Creed fan yourself.
I do like Assassin's.
How many versions of the game do you own?
I think I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7.
And
My kids know if there's a new one that comes out for Christmas that's could be on the Christmas list for me. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And Jason makes the comment that says, I think improv is 95% of Santa. That everything that you do is 95% of. So I look at the character development, all those backstories. Those are all, I think, foundation pieces. So then you can use improv skills to pull that out of the hat when you need it.
Right,
Yeah.
because again, you can seek a lot of information. Like a lot of people say when they go to the different type of Santa gatherings, whether it be the family reunion, the event in Lancaster, School of Santas, Charles W. Howard, Northern Lights, a lot of people end up learning more from talking to other Christmas performers than usually during the lectures and seminars itself. Because again, like for instance, Santa, what's my address? If you're the real Santa, you know what my address is. That's a question to you, Michael. What's my address?
Well, you know what? I'm trying to remember who I heard say this, if it was Charlie, but they gave longitude and latitude coordinates. You know, and I thought, oh, that's so smart. Well, I don't come down the street. This is how I get there. And so, you know, it's the same way here. Here's an improv for you. And this happened to me, and it came out of my mouth, and now it's my standard response back. Santa, what's my elf on the shelf's name? And you know, and I struggled with that. And then all of a sudden, one time I found myself, I went 7342. They looked at me and I went, oh, we give them numbers because you're supposed to name them, not me. So what did you name 74342? You know? And so it was like, oh, I'll make a note of that. You know what I mean? So it was like that, giving a number for their, and that was an improv, came out, and now that's a standard response for me because, oh, that was a good response. I liked it. That was one of those. Yeah.
Even too, is I often get asked, how many elves do you have up at the North Pole with you, Santa? And I said, well, that's a very difficult question because I have different branches. I have the elf on the shelf or scout elves. Then I also have the toy making elves and then the coal elves. But in the toy making department, I have 7,994 elves. And they're like, huh? That's the last 4 digits of my phone number. I will never forget them.
Yeah. So you take something familiar and use it. And so that way it's a quick response. So it's natural back. That's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's move up into guideline number 4, and that is respect the moment. Sometimes people you interact with will come up to you with emotions that go beyond the usual holiday cheer. A child might confide in Santa about a difficult family situation, or an adult might get emotional when talking about loved ones who are no longer with them. In these moments, it is crucial to respond with empathy, respect. Improv helps you navigate these sensitive situations by allowing you to respond naturally rather than relying on first line. Stay soft, stay kind, and remember that your words have the power to confront as much as they do to entertain.
Yeah.
Now, you know the story I want to go with this one here.
All right. Which story are you going to go with it?
I was doing another virtual visit for a family, and in 2021, I met these 2 young boys. One child was sick. I believe he actually did have cancer. And we did our visit, and it was a good visit. It went off well. We had a good time. And yeah, okay. Michael, do you have your microphone close to you? Because Charlie said there's a slight echo.
For me?
Yeah.
Hello, 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 hello.
No, I think it's good. I think when we were just talking, maybe the microphone got pushed closer or something, or the speaker.
All right, sorry.
No, we're good. But no, what ended up happening was the following year in 2022, I received notification that the family wanted to meet with me again. Unfortunately, their one son passed away before Christmas.
Ouch.
And so the family wanted to give me a heads up that their son may ask about their brother. And I was like, okay. I had no idea what I was saying. And then as the visit came closer and the child brought it up, I don't know what made me think about this, but I said, staying in character now, mind you, is, I'm a toy maker. I'm a tinkerer. And what you're asking me is something that I can't do. However, what I can do is create a star and help place that star over you. So anytime you look up into the sky, you'll always see that star. And just know that in remembrance of your brother always looking down on you.
That's a great improv response.
And I was like, after that visit, was like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah, write that down.
Exactly.
And this is just for me. There's a part of improv that I believe is providential. I believe that you will have when your background is set, your character is set, you have those things, and then what you need to say will come out of your mouth at the exact time that you need to say it.
Well, I mean,
Dr.
Bruce is on with us, and he actually said a really good point. Improv is a natural outpouring of quality conversation and emotion. Good. And again, the thing is with improv is vulnerable. It's vulnerability. You have to be able to give part of yourself, be truthful to yourself in order to basically come out with quality improv. We're not going for laughs all the time. If you're truthful with yourself, you are definitely going to be funny when you need to be funny.
Funny, yeah, when it's natural. It's
exactly
just a natural response. So if you're naturally funny, don't try to be funny. You'll say and do funny things.
Exactly. But or you can just look at pictures of me and that just be funny enough.
I'll tell you what. All right, let's do a thank you for all those people who contribute to the show tonight.
Sure, let's go.
Are you going crazy managing clients, contracts, and invoices? Kringle Tracker is here to help you. Stay organized with ease. Keep your sanity in check with Kringle Tracker's intuitive tools to effectively manage your schedule and clients. Our seamless, customizable contract system allows you to tailor your contracts to you and your clients' needs. Prepare for tax time like a pro by tracking your income and expenses and generate reports to make it a breeze. Transform your Claws business by signing up for a free 20-day trial. Kringle Tracker was created by a Claws for the Claws community so you can focus on making magical memories for your clients. Head over to kringletracker.com and sign up for your free trial today.
I just love contributors.
Oh, I'm thankful for them.
I am too.
You know, and speaking of Kringle Tracker, man, was this a good week for it? I sent out all of my agreements, you know, for photographers and getting everything done and checking it all off and getting all the invoices done. And it was like, wow, I'm so thankful for Roger.
Well, you were telling me too, you already started receiving payments for it as well.
Oh yeah, all of the retainers and all of that type of stuff. But I would say that contracts for my season, but it's not September, it's almost September. I think I've only got 4 contracts, you know, or agreements. I like to call them agreement forms because some people freak out over the word contract. You know, but I would say I've got 90%, 95%, everyone signed. I've got 5 left that haven't signed.
It's amazing. See, that's organization at its finest.
Well, and and I need help with that, you know, I mean, to leave it all up to me on myself. But
yeah, no longer living in the world of Excel spreadsheets and sticky notes, right?
I love sticky notes though.
I do too, but it's also fun when you get bored and you start putting them on your face.
Well, you know, it is like I'll leave a sticky note on the table. Hi, honey, I went to do this. You know, I've got the phone. If you need this, call me. You know, and so sticky notes have their place in life still.
They do. I also just use the phone to just text people. Like to my wife, I'm like, going here. Do you need anything?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to guideline 5.
Oh, guideline 5.
Guideline 5 is
one of my favorite F words.
It is, and it's not free because that's Randall's word.
Well, yeah, free is good, and food is good, and then this is like number 3 on the list.
Well, this is our identity. Have fun, but stay grounded.
That's right.
Well, you know, because Christmas is full of joy and wonder. It's important to remember that your improv should serve the moment and not derail it. Humor and playfulness are wonderful tools, especially for listening to the mood, but do not overdo it. For example, as Santa, it is great to tell silly stories about the North Pole, but don't let those stories get so outlandish that they overshadow the magic of the moment.
Yeah, I think of it like, you know, all of that kind of stuff is icing to the cake, but you got to have a good cake, you know, because too much icing makes you sick.
Right.
But a good amount of icing on really good cake, you can tell that this Santa likes cake, you know. But my girls like frosting.
Yeah, you know what? I can actually say this is one of the hardest parts that I do when I'm actually performing. And with this is also balance. I mean, because you have to let the playful moments breathe, but also stay connected to the reality of your character and the experience you are creating for others. I find myself when I'm in performing that I want to put so much action and so many wonderful things in it that I never let a punchline or a sentiment moment.
That's right.
Breathe and people go.
Yeah, that's for storytelling and those types of things. You've got to discipline yourself. I have to, and I say that for me, you know, I've got to discipline myself to realize that I know the punchline. I know where I want to get going, but I need to let the people who are listening to me, you know, those who are participating with me, to develop it in their mind and slow down and give them the opportunity. And I find that my laughs or things that I do are much greater when I can learn to slow down and not get there really quick and give it time and those pauses, you know, for them to develop it in their mind so then they can see it along with me.
You make very good points. Now, I want to go over a few exercises here just to kind of like demonstrate those. But yeah, I know, no, we're not going to be doing pull-ups, sit-ups, and running in place. No,
pump you up.
And you know, it's more like this. Dun dun dun. Anyway, but I want to go back to guideline number 3, and that was stay in character no matter what.
So is this stuff that you should do with a group, or is this stuff you do on your own?
This is stuff that you could do with a group, you could do with one other person. But before I get into some of those exercises, I just want to bring back another point to guideline 3 because, a squirrel moment here.
Okay, I've had those all the time.
I don't know how many that are joining us on this call right now work with more elves. And the reason I'm saying elves is simply this. If you just refer to basically a co-performer as just an elf, as a blanket elf, what real motivation do they have to stay in a character? When I work like Great Wolf Lodge or I work with elves, like even on my parade float, I try to name or let them pick out a name for their elves and address them as those names.
Oh
For
yeah.
instance, I have, Ginger Snap the elf. I also have my elf Dave, and my elf Dave rocks because all he does is sit there with a gift in his hand and tosses it up and down. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Phineas, but he's
Oh
so
yeah.
wonderful. Then I also have Sparkles the elf, who is very sassy. That'll keep Santa in his place. But working at the lodge, I have Jingle and Jangle, and then I have a few other ones. So again, when I hand out the candy cans, I tell the children to go see Jingle or go see Jangle because, again, it allows them to actually get into character, and that also helps improv, especially for working together back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good word.
So, but
So
what
do you I know one of the things that when I'm working with Mrs. Claus is to say dear or honey.
Mhm.
I struggle with it because my mind goes, this is how I treat my wife. But then all of a sudden the character, in real life is not my wife. And so it's like I find it mental work to make sure I'm saying things and doing things that show that I love her and that she's my wife,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
again, I was always taught, especially when it comes to the Mrs. Claus persona, is for some children, this is like really truthfully the only loving family that they've ever had an opportunity to see. And I think one of the other guidelines that should be applicable, and this is just common sense, is if you're working with another person before you go on, there should be a discussion as to what is within limits and what's off limits.
Their boundaries and things
The
where
boundaries, because you don't want to get up there and you want to say something or do something that could actually cause distress to your partner up there. You have not only do you have to trust yourself, but you also have to trust everybody that's on stage with you. And this is the important part of it all. So, but like I said, when it comes to Mrs. Claus, I like to actually talk with the Mrs. Claus. Luckily, most of the time, my Mrs. Claus is my wife, so I pretty much have a good thing going that way. However, at the same time, especially like dealing with the elves, I make sure that they're comfortable, that they're within bounds, and I just try to throw them. And if I see that they're not comfortable with the interaction, then I kind of lay off of them. But again, you have to be able to not only trust yourself, but trust the people around you. Because again, in order to succeed on stage, you have to treat everybody working with you like a rock star, like they are.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so some exercises, the things to practice that we can practice with. So
Right.
you're like just like True, stuff that we've listened to Santa True. Santa True is always encouraging you to get together and to rehearse and to practice.
If you meet in any type of group, excuse me, if you meet in any type of groups, whether it be on Zoom or in person, or you're having lunch, or you just want to get together and have coffee, one of the nice practices you can do is the yes and principle, or again, build and accept. And this is the way the exercise goes. Get together with a fellow performer and take turns throwing holiday themed prompts at each other. The rule is that whatever the first person says, the second person must build on it with yes and. So if I were to say to you, Michael, hey, we're two elves talking here, so think like an elf. Hey, I just heard Santa sleigh.
We're both elves, right?
Yes.
All right.
So, all right.
Tall elves, plump elves.
Well, I'm short and plump, so I fit the bill.
All right. Yes.
I look more like a hobbit than an elf, though.
Sorry, I'm just messing with you.
Well, that's okay. You've got the hairy feet, so. But anyway, If I come up to you, for
Yep.
instance, and I said, "All right, Jangle the Elf, I
Yeah.
just heard that Santa's sleigh got stuck in a snowstorm last night."
Oh my gosh, stuck in a snowstorm. You wouldn't believe everything that we did. I mean, but Santa was prepared, for an emergency like that. He pulled out his communicator, and I forget the exact name. Do you remember what that is?
Oh, that communicator. Isn't that something that Quentin the Elf in IT created? Oh, I want to call this a what's a doodle, but I'm not quite sure. Is it
No, I'm not sure it's the what's the doodle. Maybe the thingamabob, but that little blue light. Oh my!
the one that goes
Flash, flash.
bing? Is it the one that goes bing?
Oh yeah, that's
Bing?
exactly what it
Oh
did.
my goodness.
It did something else too. I'm trying to remember.
Did it go brrr?
Oh no, I don't. I think it went more than you know what I mean. But yes, I think that's everything that it does, isn't it? Or is there something else?
I'm not quite sure. You know what? Maybe we should call Quentin and get Quentin here.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Oh, but see, what we actually just did right here is we basically accepted what each one of us were doing, and but it wasn't just all verbal. We made sound effects. We could use body language. We can use physicality. But what the purpose is to practice receiving something and accepting that,
And that was improv. I didn't know that Michael was going to do that to me.
and then build it up and add one other element and then send it right back to the person. And again, what you're doing is creating that conversation based on quality.
But
Now,
then I think towards the end when we quit it, I could see that we were kind of like it was coming to the end. Like, okay, close it out. Let's
right.
move on.
And
Yeah.
again, no, that's just it though, but if you think about it, every single day, whether you go to work or you're having communications or talking to your friends, even a conversation with a child or an adult as a Christmas performer, improv skills can actually be used within the conversation because all you're doing is listening intently as to what the person is saying, reacting only in that moment, receiving the information, accepting it, and building on it. And this is what creates good conversation.
Cool.
The
So
second exercise is character interaction scenarios. Again, if you get together with another performer or a group of people, you can assign each person a character. So, for example, you can throw, if you brought up some volunteers in front, you can create pieces of paper that says Santa, Mrs. Claus, or an elf on the piece of paper. And then all of a sudden, you have each person pick a piece of paper, and then you throw out an unusual request from those that maybe weren't selected, and the others must have to stay in character to respond. So, for instance, if I pulled Mrs. Claus and Michael gave me a scenario.
you want me to go ahead? Okay, what you doing? Well, and you're Mrs. Claus for me.
Yes,
I'm going to pull
yeah.
up Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus. Just her cookies are coming out of the oven, and there's a slight smoke starting to rise, but there's a problem with how she can pull them out of the oven.
Oh, okay. So, as Mrs. Claus, I always want to stay in character. So, oh my, did I burn that batch of cookies again? I told Santa that oven was getting a little bit hokey. You know what? If you need anything done around here, I must always do it myself. Jasmine, yes, Jasmine, can you bring my toolkit over here? We're going to change the heating element of this oven right now. Now, granted, I don't sound like Mrs. Claus, but at the same time, too.
But you pushed in. One of the things about improv, keep pushing. Push.
But again, these are examples of what you can do. And this is kind of if you wanted to play your own version of whose line is it anyway?
It wasn't even a good Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, gosh. No. Hello. But again, with this character interaction exercise, you can now basically put yourselves into different scenarios as different characters, and it might give people a little bit of insight as to maybe some different responses that they could employ, that they could actually recognize, but also helps you stay in character. And then again, one of the last exercises I do want to discuss at this point is the audience connection practice. Stand in front of a group of people and have them ask you questions as if they were an audience members at a Christmas event. Practice staying present, listen carefully, and responding as your character while still making that personal connection. This is especially useful for preparing to meet and greets or longer conversations as a performer. So what simply this means is if you wanted to, you can create a fictional round table more or less. But instead of everybody being a an expert, a material expert, they have to portray the role that you assign them. So again, from this perspective, it's like, okay, as Santa, Santa, I would like a unicorn for Christmas today.
Oh, really? Is there a certain reason why you want a unicorn?
Well, they're so magical and they're so fluffy.
Oh, they are fluffy, but I mean, and you're talking about a toy one, right? You know,
Oh no, a real one with rainbow colored hair and braided tail.
oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Haven't you heard? Anything, bringing a real animal on my sleigh, well, there's a certain rule. Did you know that your mom has more power than Santa? Yes. I
She
know it's
does.
hard to believe that your mother is very, very important because anything that eats, sleeps, or poops, I can't bring it on the sleigh without your mom's permission. So we'll have to talk to your mom first. Have you talked to your mother yet about this?
Mom says no.
Oh, well, then she has more power than Santa, like I said before. So, well, but I'll make sure that I do bring you something special. Can you trust me for that? Because you're so wonderful and I love you so much and you're very, very important. Can you trust me to make sure I bring you something special?
Yes, Santa, I can. And again, these are just one of the scenarios that you can use it. Even if that same reply was if Michael was playing an elf, and I asked them as a child, Santa, can you? I mean,
Oh, was I supposed to do the elf instead of Santa?
no, you were supposed to
Oh,
do it
okay.
as Santa, but now I want you to do it as an elf. And I ask you the same thing. Jingles, can you maybe see if Santa can bring me a unicorn for Christmas?
Oh my, you know the rules. You know the rules, and you're asking me to do something like that. You know what Santa says. Oh my, oh my. I can't believe you're asking me for such a thing because Santa always says if it eats, sleeps, or poops, we can't put it on the sleigh without our mother's permission. Oh my, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
And see, basically two different responses, staying in character, which is actually a good audience connection piece itself. So if you do have something, and again, this keeps you on your toes, it keeps you in the present, and it also increases your listening skills. So basically, to sum up improv is what keeps the magic of Christmas performances alive. It is the art of being spontaneous, of connecting deeply with the people you are performing for, and of making every interaction special and unique.
Now
When
I
you
know. Sorry.
go, no, no, go ahead.
No. I thought you were done. I
No,
wasn't.
no, go ahead.
Cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
No,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say I know that you read and study improv more than anybody I know. You know what I mean? That's on my list. Do you have any of your books that you can recommend?
Oh well,
Got them right there.
no, I don't have them really right handy with me, but let's see here is
What about left-handy?
no left-handy, no right-handy,
No
there's
right hand or left-handy?
there are amazing books out there. Viola Sporlin is considered one of the founding members of modern day improv. She actually is the one that created a lot of the improv games and also set the foundation for the cornerstone of Yes and. What is it? Keith.
I'm asking you to pull this out of your head. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I know. Another one is actually one by oh Dell. Here, just give me one moment.
All right, go ahead
Excuse me.
and grab it. I can do dad jokes while you're doing it. When you make a comment about being grounded, it made me think, and then you said moving, it made me think of, what do you call a cow, with no legs, right? Ground beef. Yeah. It doesn't go over well without your response. I know you're in there. Can you hear me? All right. So Michael's getting it. Chris, thanks for being here. And Tim, thanks a lot. And Scott's here. And Sal, your comments. And Bruce, we appreciate your input. I love the comment about just a natural conversation. That's awesome. All right, there we go. Good. He's back with his
See,
book.
and this is what happens when
tried to fill the dead air
my
space.
improv actually got away from me.
But once I started that joke, because it reminded me of it when you made the comment about being grounded, I said the ground beef, and I thought, we did that joke a few weeks ago.
Well, to go on to,
I think that was Bruce's joke. Right, if I remember.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, that was Bruce. Yeah, what do you call a cow that has no legs? Grounded.
Ground beef. And then what do you call a cow that only has 2 legs? Lean beef.
Yeah, it's lean beef.
Yeah, that was Bruce's joke. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
Hey,
all right,
Brad, good to see you. And Jenny's here too.
Oh yeah, we got, like I said, we have a really great group. One of the books I do like to read is one. It's called The Improv Illusionist.
Oh, here, let me put you on.
Make me bigger here, real quick.
Oh, wrong one. I think you have to push that button.
Oh well, that's okay. Well, no, I was just
there's that one.
So let's go here.
I think if you push that button, no. Is it coming back to me?
It's coming back to you.
Don't come back to me.
Anyway, I could just hold it up just like this. This is The Improv Illusionist. Okay, this is actually written by David Ratt. And what this book discusses is basically using physicality in your improv. You are not just limited to basically the words. You are also can use your body. You can use different elements as well. Another great book is one by Will Hines. And this is How to Be the Greatest Improviser on Earth, which is also a fun read as well. Another book that I do like, and this is where I came up with the idea that in a lot of improv books, what you'll end up having are the rules. These are the rules. Well, this book called Improvise Freely by Patty Stiles is actually a wonderful book because it basically tells you to throw away the rule book and unleash your creativity. And again, what this simply means is to utilize the so-called rules more as guidelines, as they will basically help you assist with your improv. But rules are meant to be broken, and some people are so defined by rules, it kind of hinders them. Another one, and this is the one I was talking about. This is Sharna Halpern and Del Close and Kim Howard Johnson, and this is Truth in Comedy. And again, this is Del Close, and Del Close was actually a director who did a lot with like Second City, and so it's a wonderful book called The Manual of Improvisation. And the last one I do have handy with me right now is called Improvise from the Scene from the Inside Out by Mick Napier. And yes, it does have a sticker because this is the way it came.
It's like a belly button.
Exactly. But these are some of the books that I read. Now, granted, I also have a much larger collection of PDF files and audiobooks as well. And so this is all the stuff that I just love to read. And pretty much what this class was just more or less a summation of some basic improv techniques and guidelines to maybe help you elevate your visits or your interaction with the audience. Now, when you combine your character work with strong improvisational skills, you not only create memorable moments, you create magic. So as you step into the shoes of Santa or the boots of Mrs. Claus or the curly-toed shoes of an elf, remember the guidelines, be present, accept and build, stay in character, respect the moment, and have fun.
Magic.
And yes, trust yourself and the magic that improv brings to your performance.
That's awesome.
So I hope there was a lot of
awesome, Michael.
No, you're awesome. But you know what we need?
I'll be kinda awesome. You be awesome, and I'll be kinda awesome.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. You could be kinda, and I'll be awesome, and then by together we're kinda awesome.
Just square.
But
sorry, my mind's just thinking, hey, we should make a t-shirt for Sal.
Just for kind of awesome. That's going to be our new tagline. Be kind of awesome. But you know what time it is now, Michael?
Well, it's Kringle Cracker time. It's getting close to the end of our time. But you know what? We should do a trivia question.
That's what I was going to. It's trivia time.
Really trivia. So are you ready? You got your typing skills ready? Are you ready to me to put it up?
Yep. Go ahead and you read it and put it up, and I will monitor the chat.
Here we go. What U.S. state uses the melody of "O Tannenbaum" as its state song?
Ooh, but I do like O Tannenbaum, better known as Old Christmas Tree.
Tannenbaum. Yes. Christmas tree. I've done that. I made up my own version. My mom wasn't really happy with me. Oh Christmas tree, we'll burn you up in January. We'll take a match and poof you go, and then we'll throw you in the snow. My mom wasn't really happy with me.
I wouldn't be either. But we do have some responses. We don't have a correct answer yet. Sandy, it's not Michigan. Mike Connor, it's not Pennsylvania.
Oh, this is a good question.
This is,
isn't it?
Oh, Chris Elzinga. Nope, it's not Vermont. Charlie,
Vermont. We're getting close. You're getting all these eastern places.
Not Iowa or Michigan. Oh, are we going to actually get people to stump this time around?
Oh, I hope not. I'm used to everyone getting.
We got it.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Winner, 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 chicken dinner.
Jenny Kringle. Congratulations. Michael, do you want to go ahead and say what the answer is?
Yes. What U.S. state uses the melody of O Tannenbaum as its state song? Maryland. As the crowd goes wild and says,
the crowd does go wild.
Montana, California, Iowa. Yeah, there we go. I love Jenny. She's just gonna list all the states.
Yeah, she's gonna play it safe that way.
She's going for all of them, baby. Yeah.
But she did get Maryland, so that's the important part. Now, Jenny, what this simply means is your name is going to be submitted into.
Well, I saw. We have to look at the time because you know what? Let's do this if we can. I've got Brett Williams. And the timestamp that I have, they're both exactly the same.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to add Brett Williams in there as well.
Yeah, I say let's add both of their names to it. I think that Bob and Scott won't get mad at us.
No, I don't think so either. But we're going to do it this way. And you know what? Sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness.
They'll probably ask us to do some extra sound work or something.
Yeah, that's okay. We do like that. Oh, and Jenny says, I thought I was a squirrel when I was doing that, but that's all right, Jenny. We all have squirrel moments.
I have squirrel moments. I live in Squirrelville.
Oh my gosh. You should see my backyard. It has so many acorns. I feel like I have Bob Master says we have the green light.
Yay. Thank you, Bob. You're awesome.
What he said, because he is kind of and I am awesome. Together we're kind of awesome.
That's, you know what, that would be a fun t-shirt, kind of awesome with the Kringle Brothers.
It would be. You know what, we can actually think of a design and maybe look at that up there. So next, so let's see here. As we did the trivia, we did our
is there any last word? I can't believe our hour has gone so quick. Is there any last thing, Mike, that you'd like to encourage everyone?
Well, I just want everybody to basically, let's see here, that may your life be filled with encouragement, laughter, and fellowship.
And may you find the magic in everything you do and bring smiles to all those that you meet and see.
So also, too, is remember this. I just want to get this in before, Michael, you finish your thought here. Is because if I don't, I will forget. Remember to follow us and like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Click. It's that algorithm-y thing. The more you click, the better it is. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And also, too, is if you like to make any comments, tell us if we're doing good, if we're not doing good, if there's something that you want us to talk about. Don't be afraid to email us. Send us suggestions. Send us critiques. Send us love. Send us hate. We're good. We're happy.
But you know what? If I don't mind the negative words, but can I at least get a little anything, affirmation with it before you rake me on the coals? It's a little bit of affirmation would be nice.
Well, just remember, I love you, and
I love you too.
That's all that matters right there. Also,
don't forget Tuesday, you've got Monday with Bob and Randall.
Tuesday,
in the afternoon. Tuesday Night Live
with Bob and Scott and
and
Spangle.
Spangle. And then, of course, Wednesday with us. We love and appreciate you coming and investing time. And hopefully we're being honoring of that time for you. And don't forget, Thursday is the Magic Fellowship, and then with
followed by Vintage Mrs. Claus,
and then also Erica the Wingnut. And then Friday is Save for Your Loved Ones.
That's right. And remember, next week we're going to be discussing Know Your Audience.
Yes. And then you know what? And hopefully Steffi's still on. I would love to get Steffi to come on and talk about photos and photo work and being prepared. So Steffi, if you're still listening, this is an invitation publicly out. We'd love to have you come on to the show and talk to everyone about photography with us.
Yes, Steph, we'll get with you and maybe we could set something up for sometime in September. I think it would be fun to get the perspective of a photographer. Some of the do's and don'ts and some of the best practices that can be used. So with that, Michael, I think we should actually say good night.
Good night, everyone. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching. There's still a few people on for the after show.
There is. Thank goodness we don't do this a long time, but this was a fun show tonight, wasn't it?
I enjoyed, dude. You've got so much knowledge. I appreciate you so much.
Like I say, my brain is full of useless stuff, but this is always fun when you get a chance to share it. But you know what? Did you hear about the leprechaun, the mermaid?
Leprechaun and mermaid? No. Was there anybody else with him?
I don't know because I can't think of.
Oh, a politician, and there was the governor, and
also a Yeti and Sasquatch. They were all walked into the bar.
Sasquatch, right? All of them.
And do you know what they were discussing?
Correlation between all the things that you just said.
Did you know what they were discussing?
What?
Hair care.
I thought it was what brought them all together was Kringle Time.
Well, they were actually watching Kringle Time and talking about hair care.
Well, I can see the Sasquatch with hair care. That brother uses more shampoo and conditioner than any other animal I know.
Well, what about the mermaid with the shell comb? I mean, that's
she doesn't use the shampoo and stuff.
But could you imagine? But could you imagine? Well, first of all, we'd have to figure out how she walked into a bar.
in a rolling aquarium.
Fish aquarium on wheels.
This is the aerial thing. My mind's going, all right.
Thanks, anyway, everybody. Good night, everybody. Thank you. See you next week.